Welcome to our January Weatherization Network monthly meeting. This month, we are going to go over some updates and reminders. We also have Susan Hill that's going to be speaking about the lead hazard reduction program. We'll have our spinning production updates, some IJA updates. We'll go over when our next meeting will be, and then our WDR program updates following that. So we'll start off with weatherization. And for your DOE 25 grant agreement amendments, those were sent out by Jen Bissett on December 12th. Again, this is in regards to portions of the FAL 2025-05 and its appendices that implement policy flash 2025-25, and those must not be applied until further notice. So amendments were sent out to have signed and returned back in CAMS. There currently are a few that have not been resubmitted back to us signed within the system. So you will show as out of compliance due to an overdue report in CAMS. If you're having trouble accessing the amendment, please reach out to us at DHCD and we can have that emailed to you as another route as well, or point you in the correct direction of where to locate that document. In terms of our hand cloud MIP migration, we will have the submission to DOE submitted once a few additional Hancock developments are made, and then the go live date will be shared once that date is determined. At DHCD, we will be updating or implementing the new fuel costs in Hancock later this month in Gen 3, so you'll have additional correspondence before that is completed. And then in the next few slides, we're going to have Jennifer McCoy go over the 2025-2026 programmatic monitoring. And then we'll have, following that, we'll have Jen Bissett go over the 2026 grant management plan and state plan. So I'm going to have Jennifer speak about the monitoring now.
Good morning, everybody. It's been a while since we chatted. So I just wanted to hop on and kind of give an update regarding the programmatic monitoring for 2025-2026. You may have received the network email that I put out, just to kind of let you know that the monitoring template is now live in CAMS. So you are able to access that template. And the due date to complete the template will be Friday, February 20th. So make sure that you keep that date in mind. The monitoring months for this monitoring cycle are August and October 2025. And just a reminder to please not wait until the last minute to upload your documents, just giving yourself ample time to gather and review all the requested documents. And, through the next couple of months, I'll be hopping on the network meetings to give you updates along the way about the monitoring year regarding on-site visits. But if you have any questions regarding the template or if you're having any issues, please do not hesitate to reach out. Next slide. Thank you. And I just wanted to throw a screenshot up here for, again, just a reminder, and anybody that's new to the process, just to where to locate that template. So, and it's going to be under the project management tab under reports and documents. And just make sure you are in the correct year. This is a common error. Sometimes you're in the wrong year and you're not able to see the correct template. So make sure you're in that 2025-2026 year. And it typically is going to be at the bottom of the reports and documents tab. I have it highlighted, the weatherization programmatic monitoring, and you'll see that the date is due February 20th. And again, if you have any questions, please reach out. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. I just wanted to give a quick update about the upcoming grant management plan. This will be for the weatherization for 2026/2027, which should begin on July 1st of 2026. The grant management plan, I'm hoping that it will be up at the beginning of February. We're in the process right now of getting it set up in CAMS. And then you will have 30 days to complete it from when it goes live into CAMS. And this, all grantees who want to receive funding for weatherization must complete a grant management plan, and you must receive a passing score of at least 70 in order to be eligible to receive funding. And I do want to remind folks that late submissions do incur a 5-point penalty per day of lateness. That includes if you submit your application, but you submit incorrect documents, it will be considered late until those are corrected. So I do encourage folks to complete this as early as possible. So if there are errors, they can be corrected before the deadline so that your application will be considered complete at the deadline before review. Also, I want to talk a little bit about the state plan process. We're in a continuing resolution, so we do not have any official words yet on what our funding will look like for next year. And so DOE has not issued either the red lines, which last year we got red lines in November, and obviously it's January and we have not received red lines yet, let alone the application instructions. So it is a delayed process this year. So even though we don't have those documents from DOE, I would like to go ahead and have our first network state plan meeting, which will be at our next February monthly meeting. There are a few things that we need to go over that'll be changes, and also it's a good time to talk about the things that we implemented from changes from last year, like the new budget categories, for example, to evaluate how those are going moving forward. And so this will be the first of two. We will have a second meeting as we get closer to having a completed draft for you all to review and provide feedback on. And that's all I got. If you have any questions, please let me know.
And Susan?
Morning. Yes, I'm here. Hi, everyone. Good morning. Happy New Year. It's great to be with this group of people this morning. My name is Susan Hill. I'm the program manager for the Lead Hazard Reduction program here at DHCD, but I used to work with you all in weatherization, so it's nice to be here with familiar faces. And I'm excited to be able to share this program with you all today. This is a really critical resource we have in the state to prevent childhood lead poisoning. And you all are in a key position, I feel, to help generate referrals for the program. And I really want to explore how we can collaborate more deeply. We are just starting our second cycle, a new grant award. We finished our first award last year, and now we're launching a new 4-year funding period. So this feels like a nice time to reconnect and go over some of the basics of the program and explore some collaboration. So next slide. Thank you, whoever's clicking for me. So that you'll see this is the after shot of the house that was in the first picture. And I have a few bullets that'll come up, so thank you. Or yeah, you can click through, that's fine. So this program is offered statewide through a variety of partners. We launched the program, it's actually coming up on 6 years since I've been in my role, and I got the job and then COVID started. So it was a pretty crazy time to be launching a new statewide program. We were all just scrambling. How do we even go in people's houses? It was a tricky time to be launching this, but also a great time to get creative. So we have some unique partners who are delivering this program. Project Homes is our great engine operating in Richmond. We were really fortunate to be able to absorb them after Richmond City let go of its own lead grant. So Project Homes had a turnkey opportunity for us to be able to partner with them on lead remediation delivery. So they've been wonderful. TAP and Bay Aging, they've also done projects for us in our last grant period. We have a couple of other housing nonprofits outside of the network that work with us. We've also been able to leverage LHR with CDBG jobs, which has been great. And we also have actually tapped into the for-profit world with environmental services firms that are under contract with the Commonwealth offering program delivery project management for us. So we have a unique set of partners, which has been really rewarding to work with across the state. So when we get that phone call from anyone from Gloucester to Bristol, we're able to serve that family. And you'll see here our largest project volumes are in the Richmond area with project homes, and there's so much need in Lynchburg. So we've been doing a lot kind of in that city, in that region and beyond. On average, we're doing about a project a week somewhere in the state. Someone's receiving lead services. And our average job cost is about $30,000, but we have no limit, which I think is really fun to be able to say. We can't walk away from any lead hazards. We can't just swap out some windows and not have enough money to do the rest. No, we really have to address every hazard. So I think that is an enticing line to share with you all, that we do have funds to cover what we need to cover in a house. If it's got deteriorated lead-based paint on it, we need to fix it. So there's a really rich opportunity here to leverage this program with your current jobs. Okay, next slide, please. And you can click through these. They're just a few bullets here. So 1978, that's the year we all know that we work on homes that were built before 1978. We're happy to test any house. It's fine if we don't have lead, or if we don't find lead, we're just happy to get it tested. We work on owner and renter occupied homes as well as vacant homes. So there's no preclusion there. 80% AMI is our income requirement. So anyone qualifying for weatherization is going to qualify for lead. The big thing is children under 6. So I just say to everybody, just if you have an old house and there's a young kid, just think about LHR, just if you could remember those two things. So under age 6 is the magic age, either living at home or visiting often. And I do want to stress the visiting often, because I know in weatherization, quite often you're serving an elderly client, and they might have grandchildren or great-grandchildren or a neighbor's child that they're providing childcare for. So HUD does define often as twice a week for 3 hours each visit. So, as hopefully if you're keeping this program in the forefront of your mind, and that could be a potential question of asking your clients if they do have that young child in their life, or a pregnant woman at home would qualify the house. Okay, next slide, please. And these are just a list of what we would typically do in a house. Again, it has to have lead-based paint on it for us to touch it, but we do a lot of window replacement, which I thought could be popular here. I know that's the common request you get, and most often windows are not a part of the weatherization world, but they are for us. So that could be another attractive sell. So we do a lot of window replacement. Of course, we're just doing a lot of repainting, scraping and repainting. We will swap out some trim work if that component is so deteriorated. That's the better choice. But just a lot of extensive paint stabilization. It is I want to point out the name of the program, lead hazard reduction. So we're not an abatement program. We don't rip it all out, but we are just making it lead safe for the family to move back into. I want to flag the exterior work. We have put on new siding, extensive work on porches, flooring. We'll put in new flooring in a home if there's lead-based paint on it. We also remediate soil. We will dig out the first several inches, up to 6 inches of topsoil, and replace that. And we also do healthy homes repairs, which I'll talk about a little more in the next slide. But we will do a whole other assessment to determine what
quote, healthy homes needs there are in the house. We use HUD's 29-point rating system to determine what are the most pressing home health hazards and make some repairs there. And I saw that, did John have a question in the chat? Let me open that up, sorry. Yes, referrals. I'll answer that at the end. Thank you for that. I'd like to answer it now, but I can't probably read and think at the same time. So we'll answer maybe questions at the end. Thank you. But yeah, keep them coming. Put your questions in the chat as you have them, and we can get to all of them. So I just wanted to go over quickly our program process with you all. So of course we have the application, and you saw our program eligibility. And once we've qualified that client, we conduct a lead inspection risk assessment. And if anyone wants to put in the chat, if you are a licensed risk assessor or you've held that certification before, drop it in the chat if you feel like it. I'd just be curious to see, and it could be nice for your colleagues. So a lead inspection risk assessment is a pretty detailed investigation of the home's painted surfaces. So we have very specific HUD guidelines about what we're testing in the house, but we're testing painted surfaces for the presence of lead-based paint, and then we're seeing if it's deteriorated or intact. If it's intact, we're actually not touching it. If you've got lovely crown molding with the paint's intact, it's not posing a hazard. But if you've got lead-based paint on your windows and doors, and that's causing chipping, peeling, flaking, then that's causing a hazard. And most children are being impacted by lead dust that's coming from these friction surfaces. So you're opening a window and that lead dust ends up on the windowsill or the floor, and their tiny hands are putting their fingers in their mouth, and that's how a lot of exposure is happening. In the lead training classes, they'll teach you, which is, I think, a great analogy. It just takes, if you were to put lead dust in the size of a sugar packet, like a sweet and low packet, and distribute that dust evenly across a football field, you would have contamination. Like, that's how little it takes to technically contaminate a house, and it's largely invisible. So it can be challenging to work with in that way. But we have also dust wipe samples that we'll take throughout a house. So that will really be the thing we lean on to see, okay, are these surfaces then creating a dust hazard, which can be sometimes the most dangerous. So we'll take dust wipe samples throughout the house, soil samples, water samples if necessary. So you get a really in-depth look at what's going on. And then we'll do this healthy homes assessment that I mentioned before to see what are the most pressing hazards for a young child in this home, and what can we address with let's say $8,000 to $15,000 of possible healthy homes money. Then we have the detailed scope of work that we generate based on the report, and we bid it out to a lead abatement contractor. We have a decent handful in the state of lead abatement contractors. We always certainly wish there were more. But we need that very specific qualification to do that work. You must have taken and be licensed in lead supervisor training or lead worker. They need RRP as well. There's a list of credentials. So sometimes that is a deterrent for contractors to sort of have to undergo all that additional training and insurance requirements that we do have. We will do clearance testing after the project finishes, so that's additional dust wipe sampling to make sure all the dust levels are below the threshold defined by HUD, and then the family would move back into a lead-safe home. So that's different for us too. We do relocate while the work is being done typically, because it's usually a 10-day process, but more often than not, we're taking over the house, so we do pay for the family to be relocated. Okay, next slide. And I think I just have a couple more. This might be sort of close to the end. So I thought of some ways that we can collaborate. Number one, just making a referral is excellent. We would love that. We have a good pipeline of clients, but we are also in a position where we can have more. We can do more. And you all, being community action agencies and housing rehab providers, weatherization providers, you all are interfacing with that exact client that we want to be touching. So I have a fact sheet. I can put the link in the chat. We're happy to send you copies, including the LHR fact sheet and some of the paperwork you give your client. If you are in a house pre-78, they have a kid, you see kids' toys, just make that referral. We'd really appreciate it. And we are statewide. And working with this program, we've been creative over the years about identifying new partners. So it doesn't always have to sort of look like that sub-grantee model. We're open to if outreach or intake for the program is something that would benefit your agency, I'd love to talk about it. We can sort of break out this process in different components where we're getting outreach and intake support and then turning that client over to one of our project management firms. Becoming a sub-grantee or training your crew in lead work, that's a little bit of a long game, but if this is interesting to anyone, we can have a more in-depth conversation. We do offer training resources. We have a grant that pays for lead training, if that's interesting. So yeah, I just wanted in short, sometimes with these presentations, it's good just to have one bullet point to take away. So old house, young kids, please send them over to us as you're moving through your projects. And if you're working on a house where you feel like funding is running short, let's check on that eligibility. Could we bring in LHR to do more in that house, to really give that client that holistic job? I think I have one more slide that has our contact information and resources. So it's Michelle Selden and I that work on the program. Michelle is my wonderful partner in all of this. She's on today. And our LHR website, the Community College Workforce Alliance, they deliver our lead training. They are based in Chester, south of Richmond, but they can also travel. So if you are interested in additional lead training, we could possibly bring it to your part of the state. We have wonderful partners at the State Health Department. Their childhood lead poisoning prevention team is great if you ever have any more questions about childhood lead exposure, and then the EPA Regional Office for Lead-Based Paint as well. And let me just look at the chat quickly to see if I can read and answer those. Okay. Yeah. Thank you for the question about, yeah. And, we can get a client's permission. So John Saunders asked about what sort of satisfies a referral, just a name and an address. Yeah, I'm happy, if we have a client's permission to call them, I'm happy to call them on our own and start that process, or we can share, if you all can share with me with their permission, their application documents. I can see what sort of holes we need to plug in to just make sure we have that full LHR application. I don't want to make this hard for anyone to leverage these resources or for a client to apply for a whole new program. So we're happy to sort of build off the documents you have and go from there. And Vance is asking a good question. If the house receives LHR services, would the weatherization crew still be required to follow lead safe rules? Yes, they would, Ken. So yeah, if you ever came in after us, and I was thinking about the order of operations, and ideally we would go last, with that clearance testing. But if you came in after us, yes, you'd still have to, because the home is not lead free. It's just been made lead safe. So there could still be lead-based paint that you could be disturbing. So yeah, those lead safe rules would still apply. Well, I really appreciate everyone's time in listening, and thank you for keeping this program in mind. And please reach out to me and Michelle Selden if you'd like to talk more separately about how to collaborate. So thank you all.
Well, thank you, Susan and Michelle, for joining our call today. And when we send out the PowerPoint and the recording to the network, we'll make sure you're included as well, and your contact information is there. But we appreciate you sharing.
Okay, thank you all. I'll hop off. Have a good meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
So we're going to now go back to talking about our scorecard for weatherization. And these would be with invoices that were approved through December 31st. And we'll go over the ACPU levels, the spending balances, the health and safety percentages, and production count. For the network ACPU level, for DOE 25, we are slightly elevated, but it's within a reasonable range. We'll go a little bit more details about DOE 25 in a moment. For WRF 25, I think we have one submission so far, but we're well within the allowable limits. LIHEAP 25, we are elevated, but again, we do have some flexibility there, but we do try to bring it down as close to the DOE allowable program year ACPU. And then for IJA, this will remain the same from last month. Due to the federal shutdowns and with holidays, there were some delays getting some payments through, but we do expect an increase of invoice payments showing by the next meeting. So you will see some changes there. As a reminder, for DOE 25, we do have new budget categories. For those that have submitted invoices that were approved thus far, most had used the new budget categories, but there were some that did not. So we want to remind the network that you really do need to use these new budget categories, and it does and can substantially impact our average cost per unit. If you look at the approved invoices through the end of December, when the new budget categories were being used, the ACPU level is $8,551.19. So we're less than $5 over the allowable limit. But if you were to calculate it in a way without having those separated and including them in the program operations total, we would be almost $2,000 over the allowable ACPU level. So it can substantially impact our overall network allowable limit, which then would impact you individually if at the close of the program year, if we're over, then the individual network of grantees that are elevated would have to owe DOE funds back. So as a reminder, you do need to use the energy audit, final inspection, and client eligibility and intake budget categories. If you need additional guidance on it, please let us know, but they do break down the costs that are allowable within the Weatherization Program Notice 25-1 applications, and we can point you in the direction of where to look at that information. And then for our health and safety, the percentage is going to increase as the program year goes on, but right now it's based off what is allocated in program operations versus what's been invoiced in health and safety. So for DOE and LIHEAP, it is on the fairly low side. For IJA, it is a little bit low, but there is still some time for it to increase. But this will give you an idea of where we are at this point. And then for DOE 25, this will show you who's been approved through the end of December, and our current ACPU levels. For the readiness funds, the same as what is projected and the production you still have needed. And then for LIHEAP as well, I won't spend too much time on these because you will be sent the spreadsheets. And then for IJA, again, this would be the same as last month. And so right now we're at 92.7%, but we do anticipate an increase by next month's meeting. And our upcoming monthly Weatherization Network meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, February 18th at 9 a.m. And a meeting invite was sent out yesterday. If you did not receive one, if you need it forwarded or resent, or you have a colleague that would like an invite, please reach out and I can have it forwarded. And then Erin's going to discuss the WD Otter program.
Good morning. My name is Aaron, and I'm going to discuss the WDR program. Next slide, please. So if you're somebody who interfaces with the Weatherization Deferral Repair Program paperwork, please, just as a reminder, this is on every monthly meeting. Check the WDR webpage for the most recent versions, because we still do get reports and remittances that have some of the older versions. As of today, we haven't updated anything since this past August, but there are the dates of the last update for each form on the slide. Also, what is on the WDR webpage is the training slide document from the training that we did on CAMS and WDR project management and processes. And the slides are there as is a recording. It's not the recording because the team software didn't let me edit out some of the stuff that I wanted to edit out. Like somebody came into the meeting room while I was doing the presentation and told me I didn't have the room, and I did. And then they came back and interrupted again to apologize. So I think they owe me like 3 apologies. But anyway, I re-recorded it on my personal computer, and it's the same script. So if you were there in person, you're not going to see anything dramatically different. But both the A recording and the training slides are on that web page. Next slide, please. The grant agreements for WDR expire on the 30th of this year, and we will provide extensions to the subgrantees that have funds remaining. And the WDR program manual update is forthcoming. We update the WDR program manual every 6 months, and we generally have the final document on the website by February for the first update. So we have a 30-day comment period, so you'll be hearing from me later this month with the final draft for the 30-day comment period, and I'll send that out via email when it's ready. And that's comment period is necessary. Every comment period, y'all provide us with excellent feedback and excellent questions that we use to improve the document and improve the program. So again, you'll be hearing from me soon. Next slide, please. And these are the numbers. We include these on every monthly presentation. So if you want to do a deeper dive, just wait till the slides are sent out by Michelle. But this has all of the remaining funding for the weatherization deferral repair stream. And this is based on the numbers in CAMS at the end of last year. And so in total, it was 45,170,160 that ever went to this program across 4 program years. This program year, which is a 2-year grant, had 19.1 million in total allocated, and of that, we currently have 13.9 million. Next slide, please. And these are the stats on the remittances based on what is submitted in CAMS at the end of the year. And, we had an even 300 single-family homes served in 2025 based on the remittances. So thank you for such an even number, I guess. That's excellent, though, but multifamily units served is 136. So 436 homes were weatherized based on the funds that were utilized from WDR. So that's excellent. And that brings us to a grand total of just over 2,300 total homes served with WDR and subsequently weatherization. As for average costs, the average cost numbers are based on the remittances, which do include admin costs, housing repairs plus admin costs. We closed the year out with $24,205 for the average project, and then for single family homes, it was just over 20,000. And then the bottom chart is each instance of each repair type on those homes served and paid for. And so you can see that these numbers have stayed pretty consistent across the past 3 years. About half the homes have roof repairs, and over 60% have some kind of HVAC work. The main category that has fluctuated is the other category, and that's because we've changed the definitions of some of the repairs and clarified things in the manual between the last couple of years. Next slide, please. And this is the slide with the words thank you. Thank you for listening. Thanks again, Susan, for being on this presentation as well and going over LHR.
Thank you, everyone that joined in. If you have any questions you wanted to ask the network or to ask us a DHCD, you can take yourself off mute or send something in the chat. Seems like no one has any questions at this time. So I'm going to stop the recording, and we look forward to seeing you next month on February 18th. Actually, it does look like maybe, do we have one question come through? For DOE 25, our current program year that we're working with right now with the new budget categories, that would be WPN 25-1. There will be multiple documents that you would have a choice to select from. You would want to select the one that's the application instructions. And then usually
-2 is the allocation.
Yes, -2 would tell you the allocation typically, but -1 is going to give you the breakdown of what is allowable within each budget category, if that's what you're referencing. If it's not, you can let me know and we'll make sure to clarify that for you.
Program notes.